I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call it quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve. Shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't hit, I don't sleep. When I'm focused on dangerous, they don't want it when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. What's a family? You do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them nauseous cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch how I get it here. Watch how I get it here. Watch how I get it here. Woo!
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC Austin. We have Arman Tsarukyan going against Beneil Dariush. We have a 12-fight card here. We did have 13 fights. We lost today the Steve Garcia and Mel Costa fight, which was probably one of my favorite fights on the entire card. It was a fight that I was going to have a bet on as well, so that kind of hurt. And yeah, this is a card where I know people don't like hearing this, but it's sketchy. I mean, this is a sketchy card. I feel like every single underdog's live. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be shocked if any of these guys pulled off an upset. Like if Beneil Dariush, who's a massive dog, pulled off the upset, I don't think anybody would be shocked. If Cody Brundage pulled off the upset, I don't think anybody would be shocked. Even if ER Pateria, which is probably the least likely dog to win, even if he pulled off the upset, I don't think it's the most shocking outcome ever. So I think there's a ton of live dogs, a ton of sketchy spots, a ton of fights that I just want nothing to do with. Guys coming up in weight, fighters coming off of layoffs, just a very, very sketchy card overall. With that said, from a fan perspective, I think it's a very fun card. I think there's a lot of fun matchups, but I'm definitely keeping it light this week. Right now, I have 8 bets, 6 units on the line, which is even probably too much, but there's a spot that I really do like that I went semi-heavy on, and then there are some props I like as well. And then I'm also debating on potentially adding a couple more spots, but we'll kind of talk about it and see what's up here. Before we get started, if you guys could please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It is always much, much appreciated. I'll be going live tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern time for Best Bet. As of now, we have Lou Betcha, we got Gordo as well, and then maybe looking to add one more for the Best Bet show tomorrow. So it should be a fun show tomorrow. We have 3 cards left for the year. Had my 5th best night 2 weeks ago for UFC Vegas 82. Went up almost 6 units thanks to Peyton Talbot. Shout out to Peyton Talbot, getting a 3rd round finish there, just like we drew it up there. So yeah, looking to finish the year strong. I think currently up like 66, 67, 68 units around that area. So yeah, having a solid year, but got it finished strong here. All right, let's hit up the chat. We got Daniel in the building saying, Turner looked like he's on death's doorstep. Do we actually take a shot on Bobby? Maybe even a TKO? I don't know. I don't know what to think about the weigh-ins for Turner because I was expecting him to probably miss weight, and he did, but he missed weight, and then it was like 10 minutes later. I thought it was something was wrong with the stream. Like Jalen Turner weighed in 157, and then like 10 minutes or less goes by. He comes back, and then he weighs 156, I believe, on the dot. So it was wild that he was able to cut a pound in like 10 minutes. Just made no sense. So I was expecting him to look bad. I was expecting him to miss weight. I don't know what to do with that fight yet. I don't have a bet on it yet, but we'll kind of talk about it. I don't think he looked that great, but I mean, was anybody expecting him to look amazing on the scale? I mean, this guy's just 6'3" at 155 pounds. So I don't know. Let's see. We got Bobby going to get smoked by the tarantula. What is up, Ollie? Got Jeff in the building saying, let's get this money. Let's get it. We got Ash in the chat. What is up, Ash? Donald in the chat. Less than 24 hours away. I'm really looking forward to it. Should be a very fun card. Mr. Brady, one of the best insights. Appreciate you. Jonin. Hopefully I pronounced that somewhat right. We got Tony in the building. Great main event tomorrow. Tons of live dogs on this card. Yeah, I think you can make a case for just about every single dog on the card. Let's get this bread, boys. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're all about to be so MFing rich. Off of this card, I don't know. Not me, but hopefully we make some money on this one. I think there's better opportunities even next week on a terrible card on paper. I think there's some spots sticking out next week, and then UFC 296 is going to be a big card for me. We got Jacob saying, love the Jalen Turner inside the distance plus 125. Yeah, I mean, the guy has a 100% finish rate. The guy's never won a fight that went to the third round. So, yeah, I mean, if you like Turner, inside the distance at plus money is the way to go. Ceremonies in 30 minutes. Yes, sir. I'll be watching those a little bit later. Hope you're having a good one, Brady. I'm ready for some fights. Me as well. We got Christian saying, let's get it. Let's get it. Turner concerned me when he said he felt bad doing damage to people. He's going to hold back. Yeah, his whole interview the other day was very concerning. Just didn't really seem like he wanted to be there. It was just a weird interview. We got DB in the chat. What is up? Antonio in the chat. DJ saying Bobby Green about to exterminate the tarantula. We got LJ saying, let's go, Brady. Has the little Liang not popped out yet? Not yet. Not yet. Should be anytime now. Past the due date, so still waiting anytime. Sketchy card, 100%. Yes, it is a sketchy card. Super sketchy. I'm right there with you. We got Samuel in the building. What is up, Samuel? We got Ben in the chat. Yeah, it was lonely last week, but there was Thanksgiving last week. Some football on Thursday was fun, but yeah, nothing compares to some fights on Saturdays. We got Irv with the dono, $5. Appreciate you, Irv. He says, one and only big homie, let's get this money. What's your favorite round props? My favorite round props for this week is going to be on the Bolato fight. Well, so pay attention to that fight. Those will be my favorite round props, or the Sorano fight. But so pay attention to the Sorano fight and the Bolato fight. We'll get to those. Brady, how's Iteration an underdog at this price tag? Why is it such a big underdog? To be honest, I don't know. We'll kind of talk about it, but the line is getting very, very out of hand. I'll say that. Biggie and KG on my parlays. What do you think, brother? I think either of those fights can go either way. I know a lot of people are very torn on both those fights, including myself. I'm picking Piggy and I'm picking Figgy and I'm picking Brady. So kind of 1-1 with you there. Turner took a no nut November seriously. He easily made weight. He did. But feeling Brady gets a finish. His submission game's good. Blomdog saying, let's win some lottery style parlay. Yeah, I won some lottery style parlays on NFL last night. I posted them last night. People were like, you should do NFL. And I don't know. I mean, it was all luck. I had 4 different touchdown props last night. It was ridiculous. It was 25 to win 1,400 and then 25 to win 1,200. Came up over 3,000 last night on NFL where I did no research on it. So, I mean, I got lucky last night, but yeah. Lottery style parlays for UFC though. Yeah, there is a couple big spots sticking out. So we'll see if we can hit something big this week as well. Your breakdown this week was hilarious with Jared Gordon mistake that almost happened. You cracked me up so much. Nothing but love and respect. Appreciate you, Forrest. You're always here support. Appreciate you a ton. Yeah. I don't know. I get them confused there. Their names are very, very, very similar. Which fight will go the distance? Jakar Close, Joe Selecki, the Avila fight probably. I think the Turman Gooden fight potentially. And did you guys see Clay Guida's wrist bone popping out? What's up with that? I did not see that. But yeah, guys, we got to get into it here. A lot to talk about. We're going to start with the first fight of the card. We got Jamie Lynn Horth going against Veronica Hardy. And I effed up this week. I mean, I effed up. So last week, and it's partially my fault. You know what? It's my fault. I'll take the blame. So I go to tape fights last week, and I used the tape index. And the tape index has nothing. It says coming soon. I'm like, okay, I'll wait a day or two. I keep waiting. And I think the tape index got updated last week around Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. So by the time I was able to dig into tape on these fights, I mean, these lines moved a ton. So I guess I could have, searched up the fights manually, but I do love using the tape index. It's all in order. I do like that. But yeah, it wasn't updated for a while, which was weird. And by the time I, researched this fight, Jamie Lynn Horth became just a big favorite, Jamie Lynn Horth at one point was sitting at minus 107 on BetOnline Sportsbook. Minus 107. And pre-tape, I'm telling Uncle Weezy, I'm like, this could be my favorite spot on the card. Pre-tape, Jamie Lynn Horth, minus 107. And then after I'm done researching and whatnot, like the next day, I look at the line, and I kid you not, she goes from minus 107 to minus 190. Minus 190. I didn't think the line was going to move that much at all. I mean, this is a low-level WMA fight. But, and on top of that, I saw a lot of love for Hardy on Twitter, like all last week, Thanksgiving week. There's a lot of love for Hardy. You know, people were betting Hardy at like a pick'em. Now Hardy's sitting at like plus 160. So you can't bet Horth at minus 190. That just seems very irresponsible. At a pick'em, sure. Even at a pick'em, I'm like, at the end of the day, like it's a fight that probably can go either way. But yeah, at a pick'em, fine. But Jamie Lynn Horth at minus 190, just no thank you. I think she should win. She should win, but this is a fight that I think goes the distance. We're in Texas. You know, Texas judges have sucked in the past. But yeah, Horth should win this fight, but I'm not playing Horth at minus 190. It just seems very, very irresponsible to do that. So yeah, passing on this fight. The pick is obviously Horth. I think she wins this fight. I think size is going to play a factor here. I think Hardy's getting really overrated, or at least I thought she was going to be getting really overrated with the Miller win, but apparently a lot of people on Horth this week from what I can see. So Horth, but you will not catch me betting on this fight whatsoever. Horth is green. I don't know. I think she's good. I think she's solid everywhere. I was impressed with her. So we'll see, but I'm not minus 190 impressed with her. Gino, were you the guy that said Mick Parkin was going to be a champion in the near future? Yeah, that was a interesting performance from one Mick Parkin, but he got the win. He got the win against what's his face. So shout out to Mick Parkin. Hardy is a little better, so I got her. I don't think she's that great. I think she looked really good against Juliana Miller, but anybody could look good against Juliana Miller. So. But she, we'll see. I could care less about this fight, to be honest. Texas judging is absolute trash. Wouldn't even risk decision props on fights that will be close. Yeah, it's terrifying, man. It's terrifying. So, yeah, give me Horth as a pick, but it's probably dog or pass. All right, moving on. We got Wellington Turman going against Jared Gooden. This fight, another fight where I just want nothing to do with it. I'm actually shocked, though. Like, a lot of people are laying the big chalk with Wellington Turman. Was not really expecting it. I kind of thought Gooden would be a popular dog. That is not the case. I'm one of the very few people outright picking him. But, this is a thing where, when I do my prediction videos, I have to make a prediction. I mean, that's what I do. I make prediction. But when it comes to betting, you don't have to bet the fight. And initially, I thought I would be betting Jared Gooden, but after watching some of his fights, absolutely not. I don't think he's that great. But at the same time, I'm not laying minus 190 on Wellington Turman. I don't think he deserves to be minus 190 against anybody. I think Turman probably does win, but I'll stick with my pick with Gooden, underdog with a chance. As long as he keeps it standing, I think he can get the better of the striking and potentially find a knockout, but I just have no confidence in Gooden. I was very underwhelmed with a lot of his fights. So, but a lot of people laying the big chalk with Wellington Turman. Good luck. But yeah, I'm not touching this fight with a 10-foot pole. Wellington by sub or decision is my guess. Yeah, I'd lean decision, if anything, for Mr. Turman. We got Sales saying, if you had to put together a safe parlay for this fight, who you take, and I need to hit this week and get back on track. A safe parlay for this fight or for this fight card? I think the under in the Brundage fight is a solid parlay piece that should hit. And then I wouldn't parlay any money line on this card. To be honest. I don't know if there's a safe parlay this week. Turman is like Pereira with zero power, and I don't think he's really anything like Pereira. But we shall see. I did hear that comparison this week, but I don't know. I don't see it. Pereira's a really good kickboxer. Turman's a grappler, but his striking has gotten a tad better. No way I'm betting Turd Man. No, you can't. You can't. At this price, you can't. Reese, Horth, Turman, Avila are good-sized favorites. 1-800 gambler card up and down. Yeah, there's a lot of 1-800 gambler matchups. I think we just talked about 2 of them. So, yeah. Can't see Gooden getting finished. He's a tough guy, never been subbed. I think he's a brown belt as well. So, I think this fight does go the distance. All right, Beef Wellington with Pereira in his corner. Yep, will he be in his corner? That's interesting. We got Eric in the building. Thank you, brother. Love the info love the site. Let's get one this week. Appreciate you, Eric, for signing up. Does mean a lot. And we got Gino with a 5-piece $10 parlay. Reese, Turman, Puna, Hardy, Bella, Toro, Bellado. I don't know, man. I mean, that's I don't like most of those legs. I don't think I like Puna kinda, and then Bellado kinda. But the other three I'm not really digging. But you could hit it. You could hit it. Anything can happen. All right. Move on to the next fight. This is where I get my first action on the card. Again, another sketchy fight, though. We got Rodolfo Bellado going against Ihor Pateria. Shout out to Uncle Wheezy. He called him Ihor Paterable today. I thought that was clever, hilarious, and I'm surprised that hasn't been said before. But Ihor Paterable, I thought that was very, very funny. Shout out to Uncle Wheezy for that. So we got Bellado. His big favorite. I think Bellado's the biggest favorite on the card. Bellado's minus 425. Pateria is plus 325. And a prop that did stick out here to me was Bellato by submission. The reason being is a couple reasons. So Bellato to win inside the distance is minus 250. The knockout prop is plus 100. And the submission prop is plus 350. Bellado is a black belt in BJJ. That's his base. He's a grappler. He can strike as well. Don't get me wrong. He's a really good striker, but his grappling's incredible. And you would think in this matchup, the path to victory for Bellado would be to get it down to the mat. Reason being, the one path to victory for Pateria would be going out there, landing a big shot and knocking out Bellado. Bellado's been knocked out in both of his losses, both against Vitor Petrino. So, I mean, if you're Bellado, the game plan should be to get this fight down to the mat and use that BJJ black belt. I think the sub's very live. I think if he takes this guy down, he's going to style on him. So, yeah, I think the sub at plus 350. That's kind of how I'm playing it. Obviously, he could knock him out. Obviously, he could TKO him as well. But, I think the sub is going to be very, very live. I think that should be the game plan for Bellado. I really think that should be the game plan. So, give me Bellado by sub. I have a half unit shot on the sub plus 350. And LG saying I'm surprised Brady doesn't have the 2 and 3 here, but saying that it could be early. Well, you're partially correct. So I have a quarter unit on Bellato to win in first round by sub 1 plus 540, and then Bellado to win by sub 2, quarter unit plus 1600. The sub 3 is like plus 3500. The reason I didn't take the round 3 and I went 1-2 is because I don't really see Pateria lasting 10 minutes. On top of that, Bellado doesn't have any finishes in the third round. And I'd be kind of surprised if this fight did get to the third round. So I think it's early. That's kind of how I'm leaning. Sub 1, sub 2, quarter unit on each, and then a half unit on the sub. And it'll be very annoying if Bellado goes out there and TKOs him, which could happen, but that would just be very annoying. So give me the sub. I think the sub prop's mispriced, and we'll see if you can go out there and get it. Bellado all day. Ihor is not UFC level. I don't think so either. I've never thought so. I thought his record has always been inflated. He hasn't fought the best competition. I don't think he's that great. This is going to be the best grappler he's fought by a mile. Brundage by DQ. There you go. Hey, he did it last time. Brady go green, MSU. That being said, Bellado second round submission. I'm right there with you. Second round submission. That's my prediction, and I have it bet as well. So we'll see if he can go out there and get it done. What's the hardest part of predicting UFC fights? There's a ton of unknowns. Like, we don't know what these guys or ladies have went through with their training camps. We don't know about potential injuries, right? Like that TJ Dillashaw fight comes to mind. He came in there with a torn shoulder. The whole, Derek Minner situation. Like, we've seen some crazy stuff happen. So yeah, it's tough at times. We don't know like the game planning. Like, some of these fighters have terrible game plans, terrible fight IQ. So you can go out there and research the fight, put a path to victory in your head. Like, for example, I think Bellado should go out there and grapple. He may go out there and stand and bang with Pateria and get knocked out. Like, so, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into predicting fights. We got a Lambo here. Reese round 1, Bellado round 1. I could see it. I think that's in play. I don't know if you get the best odds. Bellado round 1, I think it's just even money. And then Reese round 1, I think, is maybe plus 130. So I don't know if it's the best odds, but I could see it happening there. And that's another factor. Judging, reffing. There's a lot of factors go into predicting and betting fights. A lot of them. Do you think Arman or Gastelum are good parlay pieces? No, I don't. So Gastelum's an underdog. I mean, if you like Gastelum, just bet the underdog money there. And then Sarukian, I think that line's just way too wide. I saw it at minus 175 on Sunday, and I was like, that's a little bit too wide there. And now he's like minus 300. So, yeah, I don't think really there's a great parlay piece money line on this card that I do like personally. Maybe Joaquim Silva, but a lot of people like Clay Guida this week, so I don't know. All right. So from a DraftKings perspective, I haven't really talked about DraftKings these first 2 fights. Turman, Gooden, I don't really love it. Maybe Gooden because he's super cheap and maybe has knockout upside. Horth, Hardy, no, I'm not touching it. Bolanos on DraftKings, extremely expensive, but I think he goes out there. I think he puts on a great performance. I think he goes out there and finish his Pateria, takedown upside. So I don't mind Bolanos, although he's very expensive. And as far as Ihor Paterable, 6,600. If he does win, he's breaking the slate and nobody's going to have him. And it's probably a first round knockout. So maybe a tiny sprinkle of Pateria there. Moving on, we have Jakar Close going against Joe Selecki. And, yeah, I mean, there's a couple fights on this card where it's like, this fight can go either way. You can make a case for either guy. I can go out there and make a case for Jakar Close. He stuffs the takedowns, does the better work on the feet, wins a decision. I could also make a case for Joe Selecki. He gets a takedown, gets control, and wins a decision or finds a sub. I lean on the Jakar Close side. I thought pre-tape that I would potentially be betting Jakar Close. On paper, I kind of love the matchup for him. Jakar Close has that wrestling background. He's a BJJ black belt as well, and he has really good striking, and I think he's going to have the striking advantage here. But the more I got into it, we have seen Jakar Close taken down. We have seen Jakar Close give his back. And what Joe Selecki does very well is he can wrestle, and when he gets you down, you're staying there more often than not. And if he takes your back, you are definitely staying there. So I just feel like this could be a situation where it's a damage versus control type fight where, maybe Close does the better work on the feet. Joe Selecki takes his back or gets a takedown. And, I think this fight is going 15, so it's going to come up to the judges. This is just not a fight I really want anything to do with. It's a closely lined fight for a reason. I know there are, strong takes on either side, but, I don't really think you can be confident on either side. I do lean the close side ever so slightly. I think it's going to be a very close and competitive fight. But I'm not touching this fight at all. I don't like any prop. I don't really like anything on this fight. And from a DraftKings perspective, I'd probably even lean the Selecki side at 7,900 because he has all the grappling upside, all the control side, all the control time upside as well. And he's the cheaper guy at an underdog price. So, yeah, not touching this fight from a betting perspective. From a DraftKings perspective, I don't hate Selecki, but it's another fight where I think the dog's very live, and I feel like it can go either way. I just don't have a confident take on it. I think opposite way is a great parlay, dude. Who's a great parlay? You think Arman and Gastelum is, or no such thing as a good parlay piece? kind of agree with you there, but there could be. All depends on the card. This card, I don't really see one I love. Maybe the Brundage Violence. It's close, but I believe in Drakkar Mori. I think it's close. I think it goes the distance. I slightly lean Drakkar, but I don't know. The judges could easily F it up here. And yes, this is Uncle Weezy's Bootsy Collins dog pick of the week. He likes Selecki. And yeah, you can make a case for Selecki. His control's very good. And if he gets Drakkar close down in 2 out of the 3 rounds, he wins the fight. Just can't bet on fighters named Joe. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I'm not betting on this fight either. All right. We'll move on to the next fight. We got Zachary Reese going against Cody Brundage. Fun fight here. Really looking forward to this one. I do have a bet here. It's chalky, but I like it. I like this bet. It's the under 1.5 rounds. Got it at minus 196. It is still there for 2 units to win a little bit over 1. The reason being is there's a couple reasons. There's multiple reasons why I like the under here. I even debated going maybe like the fight won't start round 2 as well, but getting those extra 2.5 minutes I do like. So Cody Brundage is one of these kill or be killed type fighters. He reminds me a lot of a Jordan Wright. He's going to go out there and he's going to either finish you in brutal fashion like he did against Trayshawn Gore, like he did against Dolce Langambula. He went out there and he finished Malkoun in his last fight as well via DQ. So yeah, when he wins, it's typically in first round and it's typically a finish. When he loses, it's typically a finish. And there's been fights where Cody Brundage looks really, really good, like in the Dalcha fight, like in the Tresean Gore fight, and then there's been fights where he's looked really bad, like the SD Dumas fight was probably one of the worst performances I've ever seen out of Cody Brundage. Even his last fight against Jacob Malkoun, it was a terrible performance. He got the DQ win, but it was a very, very poor performance from Brundage. So he's very hit or miss is what I'm trying to get at. So you got a guy in Brundage who's extremely hit or miss, very unpredictable. Is he going to have a good performance? Is he going to have a bad performance? Is he going to show up? I don't know. And then we have a guy in Zachary Reese who we just don't know anything about him. He's went out there. He's finished 6 guys in the first round. And, none of these guys are that great. If he goes out there and beats Cody Brundage, it is going to be his best win by a mile. So I like the under 1.5 here. I don't want to bet a side here. I thought about maybe going back to the well with Cody Brundage round 1. Last time he fought against Malkoun, I bet the round 1 at plus 1,700 on Bet Rivers, but this time they're only giving a plus 600, which is terrible. So I'm not betting any Brundage props because they're not that greatly priced. But what I do have is the under 1.5 rounds. So Cody Brundage, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights between Contender Series and UFC, and he's went under 1.5 rounds in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8 fights. I like that. And then Zachary Reese obviously has never seen a second round. He's been under 1.5 in all 6 of his fights as well. So yeah, I think somebody's getting served early. I don't know who it's going to be. I think I have to pick Reese just because I'm not sure where Cody Brundage's head's at right now, where his motivation's at right now. But I think he's live, but I can't put any money on really either guy here. Give me the under to kind of cover both angles in that one. What is your most confident over or most solid over 1.5 on this card? I think the close Selecki fight over should be solid. I like that one. What is up, Daisy? How you doing? What is the most picks you've ever won in a UFC parlay? I think maybe 8. I think an 8-legger was the biggest. I almost won a 12-legger when I was at a card live at UFC, I think 266. I hit 11 out of the 12 legs. The one leg that lost was Omar Morales against Jonathan Pierce. So yeah, I was close there to getting 12. I don't really do them though. I don't really do big giant parlays unless I'm like going to a card. I like Reese unless Brundage fakes a nut shot and takes a dive for the win. Yeah, Brundage by DQ could be another look here. Cody Brundage always looks miserable. That will happen after he most likely gets finished here. No DQ saving him. Can't bet on Brundage fight after seeing that SD Dumas fight. Yeah, I mean, it was one of the worst performances I think I've ever seen. And I like Brundage. I think, a lot of people are not big fans of this guy. A lot of people hate him right now. But I like Brundage, but that was not a good performance. Brundage over 5 Gilly attempts hammered. I'm actually leaning the under just because I think this fight ends within the first couple minutes. But if it does get extended, I mean, that 5 crushes. Reese should beat Brundage by first round club and sub. I'm leaning the exact same thing, actually. Heard him on the feet, club and sub. Yeah. Reese's submission game is very good. Very opportunistic submission game from Reese. I was so pissed when Brundage won that fight by DQ. A lot of people were, man. I mean, a lot of people parlayed Malkoun, which, yeah, I mean, it was a good parlay piece. I mean, Malkoun was going out there doing his job, looking like a massive favorite, and then obviously the DQ happened. But yeah, a lot of people got burnt by that one. I lean Brundage by first round finish. Yeah, I was gonna sprinkle it, but it's not a good enough price tag for me. Not good enough. We got Ben becoming a member for 1 month. Appreciate you, Ben, saying make sure you drop a like on the video. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Ben. Class act there. Yeah, shout out to Ben there. Nicholas, good evening, my man. Good evening to you as well, Nicholas. Hopefully you're doing well. So Daisy liking over 1.5 in the Jamie Lynn Horth fight. Veronica Hardy, I agree. Joe Selecki, Drakkar Klose, I agree. Misha Tate, Julia Avila, I agree. Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum, I agree. Arman Sarukian, Dariush, agreed. And Wellington Turman, Jared Gooden. I actually agree with all of them. So, yeah, we line up, dude. We line up. Any blemish? No. I mean, I agree with every single one of those. Song Yudong next week. Yes, we have a 10-fight card next week. It was supposed to be a card in China. That didn't pan out. Now they're going to the Apex, and it's a 10-fight card. And it's there's some really bad fights on that card. I mean, it's going to be probably on paper one of the worst cards of the year, but there's also a couple good fights I'm looking forward to. I'm almost actually done researching that card for next week. Honest opinions on Silva and Guida. I don't know why I have a feeling that Guida might get the job done. Thoughts? I'm not touching it though. I'll be honest. Silva's my most confident pick on the card this week, which maybe is telling you something because this card is sketchy. But that is my favorite pick on the card is Joaquim Silva, which again, it's not really saying much because there's not a ton to be confident about on this card. Hardy and Horth, Tate, Avila, Brady, KG, all over plus 1.5 or all over 1.5 rounds plus money. Yeah, I don't hate it. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. We have Julia Avila going against Miesha Tate. And yeah, this is the 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the week. If you are betting on this fight, something's wrong with you. I mean, something's really wrong with you if you're betting on a fight like this. Which, believe it or not, I have seen people not only betting on this fight, but laying chalk on Julia Avila, which is a very bold strategy. It doesn't get any more sketchy than Julia Avila, Miesha Tate. You have Julia Avila, who's coming off of a very long layoff. Julia Avila. I mean, the last time we saw her was about almost 2.5 years ago. She apparently had like a terrible injury to her knee or something, and then on top of that, she had a pregnancy as well. Very, very long layoff for Julia Avila. Her wins in the UFC include Julio Stolyarenko, Gina Mazzani, and then Pani Kanzad was her best win back in 2019. And then on the flip side, you have Miesha Tate, who just looks terrible lately. I mean, Miesha Tate looks like she's on her way out. That Lauren Murphy performance is just inexcusable. I know a lot of people like Lucky Lauren Murphy. I'm not one of those people at all. I don't think she's that great. But yeah, just a bad performance against Lauren Murphy. I actually like Tate's performance a little bit better against Ketlin Vieira. I thought stylistically that was a horrible matchup. Vieira has some of the best takedown defense in the division at 92%, and Tate was able to not win the fight, not to come close to winning the fight, but hang in there at the very least. So yeah, I mean, I'm not touching this fight, but I would absolutely not lay any chalk on this fight on Julia Avila. There's red flags on both sides here. And if I bet on this fight and I lost that bet, I probably wouldn't show up the next week. I'd probably stop content. I would quit because I mean I couldn't show my face after coming out there and betting on either of these fighters and losing that bet. So yeah, I'm not betting this fight. If I had to pick a winner, because I have to pick a winner, I guess, right? I guess Miesha Tate, just because I feel like she has a path to victory. I don't think Avila's takedown defense is good. I don't think her get-up game's good at all. But at the same time, Miesha Tate looks checked out. And she showed up to weigh-ins today, like with 5 minutes left. So yes, it's fading this fight. If anything on DraftKings, maybe some Miesha Tate. Nobody's going to play her. So yeah, if she does go out there and wrestle for 3 rounds, maybe she scores well. And then I forgot to mention the Reese Brundage fight on DraftKings, I think is great. I'm going to have a ton of the Reese Brundage fight on DraftKings as well. I wanted to bet Tate decision, but then I remembered to never bet on WMMA. Yeah, I'm not betting on any WMMA this week. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but this is definitely not one I am betting on. Avila coming off of pregnancy is just a no-no. Yeah, apparently like a major injury as well to go along with that. Tate doesn't have any more, but Julia or Julia kind of does. We don't know if she does or not. We don't know if she does or not. We haven't seen her in a while. And the last time we saw her was against Julio Stolyarenko, which it's not the most impressive win there. Julia Avila has way better striking than Tate. Facts. That is facts. Tate's stand-up is straight trash. Agreed. Avila's second round at TKO. Yeah, I mean, if she stuffs the takedown, she should look like a big favorite, but her takedown defense does not look that great to me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not betting this fight. Respectfully, at least never betting on WMA fights again. I hit 5 out of 6 legs a couple weeks ago. Dern ruined it for me. Yeah, I had a bet on like Dern, I think inside the distance or sub as well. Yeah, Dern is just a fighter I cannot get right. Round robin, Miesha Tate, you heard it here first from Brady. No, I'm not round robining nothing in this fight. Parlay the overs in this fight. I don't know if I even parlay the over. Like, I don't know. I'm not touching anything in this one. All right. Move on to the next fight. We got Joaquim Silva going against Clay Guida. And yeah, I just said it a little bit ago. I like Silva here quite a bit. This is going to be Clay Guida's like 60-somethingth fight in his career. Clay Guida's turning 42 within the next couple weeks. And I don't know. Obviously, he's been on a decline the last several years. Clay Guida has not looked the best, and his last fight was not a great look to me. Not only did he lose that fight, but it was just like a weird game plan. Like, I had a big bet on Rafa Garcia. I really liked him in that spot against Clay Guida. That was a great spot for him. But I was expecting like Clay Guida to go out there and like wrestle. Like, that's what you would think he would do. But no, he got outstruck by Rafa Garcia in every single round by a mile. Rafa Garcia outstruck him 34-23 in the first, 65-21 in the second, and then 42-19 in the third. Just no game plan from Clay Guida. And that fight was like back in April of this year. So now he's only getting older. He took a lot of damage in that fight as well. And now he's taking on Joaquim Silva, who I don't think is the best fighter in the world, but stylistically, it's just a tough matchup for Guida, in my opinion. Because on the feet, Silva's going to be dangerous. Silva hits very, very hard. He has a ton of power. He has multiple knockouts in the UFC, knocking out Jesse Ronson, Jared Gordon, even had a knockout against Andrew Holbrook back in 2016. When he's winning fights, he's winning them by knockout more often than not. And then even against Arman Tsarukyan in his last fight, he hurt Arman Tsarukyan very badly in the second round, was very close to getting him out of there on I believe a couple days notice in that fight. So on the feet, you got to favor Silva with that massive power. And then on the ground, like, Silva's base is BJJ. His nickname's Neto BJJ. He has 0 submissions in the UFC, but I think that might change here. Clay Guida's been submitted 11 times in the UFC, or 11 times overall. I think like 8 or 9 in the UFC, like a ton. He's been submitted a ton inside the UFC and out. So how I kind of see it is, I think, either Silva lands a big shot and knocks out Guida, but he doesn't get knocked out a lot. Guida's been knocked out only twice in 61 fights, believe it or not. So yeah, he's durable, but he has been submitted 11 times, which is something to absolutely note. And my thinking is, Clay Guida, to have any success here, it'd be wise to wrestle, because Silva can be taken down. He can be controlled a little bit. But if Guida takes down Silva, he's going to be putting himself into danger on the mat. So yeah, I think Silva's very live to not only win this fight, but win this fight in dominant fashion. I have 1 unit on Joaquim Silva to win inside the distance, -105. And then I have a half unit on Silva to win by submission at +400 on DraftKings Sportsbook. So if Silva wins this fight by sub, I go up about +2.95 units, which I really like Silva this week, and I'm hoping he goes out there and puts a stamp on this fight. This is a free cash out fade Clay. Yeah, I mean, I like Silva a lot, but the line has really gotten away. I was telling Uncle Weezy like early last week, like, I love Silva in this spot. I think it's a terrible matchup for Clay Guida. And this was just like a pre-tape read. I'm telling Weezy, like, I really like this dude in this spot. And at that point, the line was like -182. I thought a lot of people were going to be on Clay Guida this week with the way the line was moving. Like, money was coming in on Clay Guida. I was like, oh my gosh, are people betting on Clay Guida this week? And then, like, I wake up the next day and he went from -182 to -320. Like, some of these lines just this week have just moved like wild line movement this week, this last week, with Thanksgiving and everything, just some crazy line movement. This was one of them. Clay faking his retirement last time was just weird, so he could say happy birthday to people. Yeah, that was weird. I completely forgot about that. Clay is going to ride a bike till his wheels fall off, man. Silva by finish. Yeah, I don't think, Guida's come out in his interview and said he's not retiring anytime soon, I think. My gosh. Veronica Hardy's my lock of the night. Hate to say it, but my gosh, Golden Pineapple. My goodness. I don't know about that. I do not know about that. Guida gets subbed like he gets a bonus for, 11 times. It's wild. Silva sub, I like it too. Short hair Clay Guida getting choked out. I hope so. Pineapple is going to have a bad Saturday. I mean, he could be right, but I mean, that's just kind of an irresponsible thing to say in a very low level fight that can go either way. I don't really see anything being a lock in that fight. Is Bolanos the best bet for a fighter to win by knockout? I mean, I'm betting him by sub. I bet him by sub, but he could get a knockout as well. I think maybe Puna is probably the best fighter to win by knockout. I think if Arman wins, it's probably by knockout. Yeah, Puna, I'd say. Maybe somebody in the Reese fight. Plus 400. I'm looking at plus 275 now. If you have MGM, it's still plus 400. I saw. FanDuel's plus 350 if you have FanDuel. Yeah, it looks like some money's coming in on it, which rightfully so. I mean the sub price is kind of wide there. I'd pick probably Sorano. Yep, that's why I wanted to research these fights like early last week, but didn't quite get to, which sucked. But I'm ahead for next week, which is good. I'm ahead for next week. I have 6 fights done out of 10 already. Line movements aggravates me. Always seem to be on the bad end. Funny thing is, last week or 2 weeks ago, UFC Vegas 82, I got reversed line moved a bunch in UFC Vegas 82, but it was one of my best nights of the year 2 weeks ago. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. Like I remember, gosh, I had it was my biggest line movement beat of the year. I got the what was it? Amanda Lemos, Zhang Wei Li fight doesn't go to decision at minus 150 on DraftKings. And it closed at like minus 350. Beat it by like $2. Feeling great about it. Zhang Wei Li proceeds to beat the crap out of Amanda Lemos across 5 rounds and didn't finish her. I mean, that was brutal. Just brutal. So yeah, sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. But you always do want to be, being on the right side of line movement more often than not. Which I typically am. What site to use to watch tape? MMA Play 365. They're typically good. But sometimes they take a little bit to update their index, but typically more often than not they are on point. They're my favorite. They're my go-to. Yeah, I'll be watching them after this here. All right, move on to the next fight. We got Punahele Sorano going against Dustin Stoltzfus, and yeah, I have 2 bets on this fight. The first one being Sorano to win this fight in either round 1 or round 2 on FanDuel, plus 115 for 1 unit, and then a half unit on Punahele Sorano winning by first round knockout, plus 290. Looking for Sorano to go out there and end the night early, which he does more often than not. Punahele Sorano has 7 wins by first round knockout, 7 of them. He has 8 wins by knockout. Actually, no, he has some first round submissions as well, but 7 first round finishes for Punahele Sorano. And the one finish that came outside of the first round was his last fight against Stoltzfus, which was 30 seconds into the second round. This guy's a front runner. When he's winning fights, he's winning them early. When fights get extended, there are some serious concerns with Sorano. He seems to slow down massively as the fight goes on. So my thinking here is if Sorano does win this fight, I think it's going to be early, and he's going to have all the opportunity to do so against Dustin Stoltzfus. Sorano, in theory, should have the wrestling to keep it upright. And when it is upright, I don't think it's that close. Like Dustin Stoltzfus was getting outstruck by Rodolfo Vieira, guys like Kyle Dawkins. I mean, Sorano should go out there and knock this guy out within the first 5 minutes. If it does get extended, though, there could be some concerns. Sorano, I don't think he has the best gas tank. And once fights do get out of the first round, he's typically not finishing anybody. So that's why I'm looking for that first round KO. 1 unit on him to win in round 1 or round 2, plus 115, and then half a unit on the first round KO. I think it's a great matchup for him. I think he should be able to go out there and not only win this fight, but win this fight in dominant fashion. I think the UFC setting him up for him to go out there and win this fight in dominant fashion. Get a big first round knockout win in front of an Austin, Texas crowd. So yeah, I mean, this is a kind of a setup fight for Sorano to go out there and get a highlight reel knockout. I don't think Stoltzfus is that great, and I think it's kind of a tough matchup for him, at least early on. So I think he's going to have to survive those first 7.5 minutes, but I think that's kind of a big if here. So yeah, Sorano early. Don't mind Sorano on DraftKings, 9,400. I just like, more fighters that are cheaper. Like I like Sarukian a little bit more on DK, Joaquim Silva a little bit more. I like Zach Reese a little bit more, but yeah, I think I like Bolanos a little bit more. But yeah, I think Sorano is fine. I think he scores fine. with a first-round knockout. Dustin is arguably the only dog on this card I couldn't see winning. Yeah, I could. Like if Sorano like gasses out and something like that happens, but yeah, I think it's a good matchup for Sorano. Are you worried about Soriano's last fight? He didn't look too good. No, not really. His last fight was against Dolce Langambula. Oh, Roman Kopylov. I forgot about that. No, absolutely not. I mean, Roman Kopylov and Dustin Stoltzfus couldn't be any different. And I did have a bet on Kopylov round 2 in that fight, which was nice. But no, I mean, Dustin Stoltzfus and Roman Kopylov are very, very opposite of each other. But yeah, I agree. He didn't look good in that fight. Yeah, hopes. I mean, if he doesn't win this fight, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Do you do predictions on the fantasy line? The 6 picks. Thank you for your prediction. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Is that like a different platform? Never heard of on the fantasy line. I don't know. Let me know where that's at. Dustin is trash. Puna's okay. He should win. He should win. He should absolutely win. We'll see if he goes out there and pulls a stunt or not. All right. We'll keep moving on. We are doing solid on time. Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum. I don't know, guys. I mean, this is a fight I'm staying far away from. I'll be honest. When I was doing my research, I was flipping back and forth on who to pick, like multiple times. At first I was on the Gastelum side, and then I end up on the Brady side. Then I end up on the Gastelum side, and then I end up on the Brady side, and I stuck with Brady for my pick, and I'll stick with it. But I'm not betting on this fight. It's kind of weird though. There is a lot of people on Gastelum, and there are reasons to like Gastelum, but this line's just not moving. I thought Brady might get the dog odds, but that is absolutely not the case. It's kind of stuck around the minus 120, plus 100 range all week. Minus 125 now, even for Brady. So. Yeah, I don't really see a lot of people on Brady. I think people are very low on Brady after the Bilal fight. I don't know what's going to happen here, but what I do know is, Kelvin Gastelum, I think he's going to have the striking advantage here. Kelvin Gastelum is going to have the power advantage here. And if Kelvin Gastelum's able to stuff takedowns, he should win this fight. It's just that's kind of a big if for me. Kelvin Gastelum has not fought at 170 in a very long time, since 2016. And there's not a ton of fights of guys going out there wrestling him. But when guys wrestle him, I mean, they take him down. They do take him down. So I don't think he has the best takedown defense. And the thing with Brady is, he did not take down Bilal Muhammad, but Bilal Muhammad has some of the best takedown defense in the division. I mean, Bilal Muhammad's takedown defense is incredible. I think it's like 90-something% Bilal Muhammad's takedown defense. So yeah, I don't think it's too big of a factor there. I mean, I think he can take down Gastelum potentially, control him potentially. The gas tank for Brady worries me a little bit, but I'll say he wins like a very, very close decision. I think it's a very close fight. I'm not really confident one way or another, but I'll pick Brady. I'm not laying chalk on him. If he got the plus money, maybe I'd think about it, but I don't really see a reason to go out there and lay chalk on this guy at this point. But I will pick him to win for what it's worth. From a DraftKings perspective, I don't mind Brady 8,200s, because if he wins, you're going to get takedowns, control time. He has all the grappling upside here. So from a DraftKings perspective, that's where I will get my exposure to Brady. But betting on him, I'm not quite sure about that. If Brady can't get a takedown, he's screwed. I'm going to live bet. Yeah, live betting might not be a bad look, because I think we're going to find out real soon who's going to win this fight. In my opinion, it all comes down to whether or not Kelvin can stuff the takedowns. Because I agree, if he doesn't get the takedowns, I think he is going to lose the fight. I've seen a lot of people confident on KG, same. And yeah, I mean, he could go out there and win. I don't know, but I don't know. I really don't know. I think Brady has a path here. We'll see. I like Brady in this fight a little more after seeing Kelvin Gastelum on the scale. You thought Gastelum looked bad? A lot of people were like going crazy about how good Gastelum looked on the scale today. I got you Brady dogs to play this Saturday. Kelvin Gastelum, Davison Figueiredo, Misha Tate, Cody Brundage, and Jared Gooden. Yeah, I mean, I think all of them are live. All of them are very live. I agree. Which over 1.5 are you more confident in? Close Selecki or Brady KG? Probably close Selecki. Because Brady could potentially get a sub and Gastelum could potentially knock him out, but I think both go over. Eyes were sunken in. Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked fine. I thought he looked okay. But a lot of people thought he looked like amazing. Like they were going crazy. Like they loved it. But yeah, we'll see. All right. We'll move on to the next fight. We got Rob Font going against Davis and Figueiredo. So these last 3 fights, I have no bets on these last 3 fights, but there's spots sticking out. I'm debating whether or not to pull the trigger on some spots, and Davis and Figueiredo being one of them. The one thing I'm biased towards Brady. No, I actually cashed an underdog bet on Bilal against Brady. I think I got Bilal at like plus 120 against Sean Brady, but maybe I don't know. Maybe the Brady name is swaying me. I don't know. All right. So yeah, I mean, this line has moved quite a bit. Like Davis and Figueiredo opened up plus 170. Gosh, he was sitting around plus 160 for a while, plus 155, plus 140, and he was sitting at plus 120 for a good bit. Now he's plus 110. So maybe I missed the boat. It's another sketchy fight where there's some question marks really about both guys. The question marks I have with Davison are the obvious. He's coming up a weight class. With that said, though, I mean, people are acting like he's coming up to like light heavyweight. I mean, people are acting like it's like a major factor. I mean, it's a factor, but I mean, I think he'll be okay. He's a really big flyweight. Yeah, is the power going to translate? Another question I have is, does Figgy care anymore? Like, he looked pretty bad in his last couple Moreno fights. Was that because of the weight cut? I'm not sure. I mean, it's just a fight that kind of sketches me out. It's one of those minute winner versus moment winner type fights where Rob Font, his volume's incredible. He's going to be the guy outlanding Figgy by a mile, but Figgy's going to be the guy with the power, doing the damage, landing potentially knockdowns, hurting Rob Font, who's been getting hurt a lot lately. I think all the grappling upside is on Figgy's side, but is he going to grapple? That is yet to be seen. It's a fight that I just don't feel like I need to really bet, but if I was to bet, it would be on the plus money on Figgy. But yeah, again, a lot of people on the Font side, a lot of very sharp people on the Font side as well. But and I get it. I mean, I can make a case for Font. I mean, he should be the minute winner as long as that durability holds up. He wins. It's just, will that durability hold up? I'm not so sure. So yeah, too many question marks for me. Too many red flags for me. So I don't think I'm going to get there. And then on top of that, I missed the line as well, which sucks also. But yeah, I kind of thought more love would come in for Rob Font. That's not the case. I don't know who's betting Figgy. I haven't really seen anybody bet him, but the line is coming down apparently, which is annoying. So yeah, probably going to stay away here. Figgy on DK is solid. I mean, this guy's plus 110 on the money line now, and he's only 7,400. I mean, that can't be ignored. His grappling upside can't be ignored. His finishing upside can't be ignored. So I think Figgy on DraftKings is where I'm going to be at this week. But in terms of betting him, I just don't think I'll quite get there. Too many question marks, too many unknowns, too many red flags. Missed the line. Probably going to stay away. This fight is, I don't know. It's a fight I just have a bad feeling about. My best bet of the week is Gastelum. Do you like him to beat Brady? Andrew May, are you watching the show? Are you watching the show? I just broke that fight down. I picked Brady, but like I said, I went back and forth in terms of a pick. Sean cannot take a punch. Yeah, I don't think he has the best durability. Such a tough fight to call. Yeah, I agree. It's a closely lined fight for a reason. I'd rather be on the dog money, but I don't know if I'm that enticed. Sean Brady reminds me of Pat Sabatini. He should, because they train together. They kind of have the same style, if you will. I mean, Sean Brady, Pat Sabatini can both wrestle. They're both incredible grapplers. Maybe both don't have the best durability. All good. But I could have sworn I saw you in the chat earlier. Maybe I'm seeing things. I don't know. But if I am seeing things, it's my apologies. All right, guys, we'll keep moving on. We have 2 fights left. Jalen Turner going against Bobby Green. And another fight where I just don't know what to think about this one. Obviously, the big thing that stuck out to me initially was Jalen Turner's coming in here on short notice, and this fight's at lightweight. The fact that this fight is not at a catch weight, it made no sense to me, and I thought there was a really good chance Jalen Turner would miss weight. Funny enough, he comes in this morning, and he weighs in at 157 pounds. And he missed weight. Everybody's going crazy. Jalen Turner's a weight bully. Everybody's blowing up about it. And I'm like, that's expected. I mean, how's this guy going to make 155, 156 on such short notice? I mean, this guy's 6'3". He just missed weight against Dan Hooker on a full camp. You're like, why is everybody surprised he's missing weight? And then I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm sitting there, with my laptop, not even really paying attention. And then all I see is I look down, I see Jalen Turner's back on the scale. Like 10 minutes later, I'm like, did the stream like mess up? Is this stream messed up? Why is Jalen Turner weighing in again? I just watched this. And then Jalen Turner magically, less than 10 minutes later, makes 156 pounds, makes weight. I mean, it was one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen in terms of weigh-ins. So yeah, he made weight, which I was not expecting at all. He looked bad, but I mean, come on. I mean, we can expect this guy to look bad. So I don't know. Bobby Green, I haven't really liked his last couple performances. Outside of the Grant Dawson performance, which was a 33-second knockout, but the Tony Ferguson fight, I didn't really like that fight for Bobby Green in that first round. I think he got hurt by Ferguson. He was able to finish him, which was great. That Jared Gordon fight, he was getting pieced up by Jared Gordon in the first round a little bit. The Drew Dober fight, he got knocked out. The Islam fight, he got knocked out. So yeah, the last couple performances I don't think have been great outside of that Dawson win, which, I mean, I don't know. That's just something that still makes no sense to me. Bobby Green, 30-second knockout. Jalen Turner's a guy that's been fighting really good guys. Dan Hooker was a favorite against Bobby Green prior to the fight getting scratched. Mateus Gamrot. Guys like that. Jalen Turner is going to be a lot bigger. He's going to have a 5-inch height advantage, 4.5-inch reach advantage. He's super dangerous. It's just, this cut down to 155 concerns me on short notice. But I mean, I think I've got to stick with Jalen Turner here. Jalen Turner's extremely dangerous, 100% finish rate. He has a ton of power on the feet. He has a submission game. I feel like the weigh-ins might be tricking some people here. I mean, I don't think people should look too far into these weigh-ins, which people are. This money line's crashing down. Jalen Turner's, in my opinion, almost becoming playable at minus 180. Gosh. So money's pouring in on Bobby Green. I don't really agree with it. I guess, for Bobby Green to win the fight, he's going to have to outlast Jalen Turner, get this fight into deep waters, take it in a late second, third round. But even then, Jalen Turner's still being competitive in third rounds against guys like Dan Hooker, guys like Mateus Gamrot. He's having competitive rounds with them. So, yeah, I mean, I like Jalen Turner here. But I haven't bet nothing yet. Some things I was looking at were Jalen Turner inside the distance at plus 135, I think, just because Jalen Turner, he's never won a decision. Jalen Turner has a 100% finish rate, and then Jalen Turner has a 100% finish rate within the first 2 rounds. Jalen Turner to win in round 1 or round 2 is plus 163 on Bet Rivers. So I was looking at something like that, but at the same time, Bobby Green is very durable. So I don't know. I could see a Turner early finish, maybe a Turner decision. I could see a Green late finish. I think there's a lot of possibilities here for this fight. And it's another fight where I just don't feel amazing about it. I don't feel like I have to go out there and, place money on a short notice Jalen Turner. I feel like I don't have to. And I feel like nothing is really jumping out to me. The props aren't really jumping out to me. So I think I might just pass on this one. I don't know whether Jalen Turner wins by knockout, submission, or even a decision potentially. I don't know. So I think I might stay away. But if this money line keeps coming down, we'll see. From a Draftkings perspective, I think both sides are fine. Jalen Turner, first round, second round finish upside. Bobby Green, although he is expensive for where his money line's at. Yeah, Bobby Green, if he pulls off the upset, it's probably going to be a high scoring upset there. So, yeah, all that to say, I think I'm probably going to pass at the end of the day. Turner's got this. I'd lean towards that. Nah, dude, Turner will take care of Bobby's big mouth. We shall see. I feel like Jalen will knock him out. He's got that reach and the striking to do it. Bobby's chin is also sus. I don't know if his chin is sus. I just, Drew Dober knocked him out, but the last time that Bobby Green got knocked out before Drew Dober was against Islam Makhachev and then Dustin Poirier way back in the day, back in 2016. I don't think his chin's terrible, but Turner's hits very, very hard. They claimed the scales backstage and on stage had a discrepancy. Okay, maybe that could have something to do with it. Not sure you get it. Bobby is trash. I mean, I don't think Bobby's trash at all, man. I mean, that's kind kind of a silly thing to say. Live bet Bobby after round 1 could be interesting. Could be. Dawson definitely dove. It's kind of what it looked like, but I doubt it. But it kind of looked like that. Against Bobby Green, Grant Dawson took a dive for his buddy James Krause. Yeah, they did. They did train together, that's for sure. Bobby Green has a very low power. I agree, but I mean, Bobby Green has been flashing some power lately, but I don't know. All right, so yeah, no bet on that fight yet, and I don't think I'll be adding anything. We shall see. I think I might stay away. Moving on to the main event, Arman Tsarukyan going against Beneil Dariush. We have another wild line movement. I remember researching this fight, I think, a little bit last week or even early this week, and Arman Tsarukyan was like minus 190, minus 200. And I'm like, yeah, that's a little wide there. And then he got all the way down to like minus 335 yesterday. Money has came back in on Dariush. It's one of those fights where I think the line's wide, but at the end of the day, I think Tsarukyan goes out there and wins the fight. But I think on paper, it's very competitive. I think, these guys are very close in terms of their skill sets, but Tsarukyan's going to be 7 years younger. Tsarukyan's going to have the much better durability, and I think durability is key here across 25 minutes. I think cardio is key here across 25 minutes. Tsarukyan's been knocked out once in 23 fights. Beneil Dariush has been finished in all 5 of his losses. Just not the best durability to Beneil Dariush. So yeah, I think Tsarukyan probably catches him at some point, but yeah, I think this fight's going to be competitive up until then. I think this fight's going to look a lot closer up until then, but I think eventually this, Tsarukyan does land a big shot or does kind of wear Dariush out, gets on top and TKOs him, something like that. But yeah, not a ton sticking out here. I was looking at Tsarukyan inside the distance potentially. It's plus 110, but it's not something I absolutely love. So yeah, nothing really sticking out on this main event. I see some people taking the dog shot on Dariush. I get it. It's a wide line, should be competitive as long as Dariush's durability holds up, but I don't think it does personally. So Tsarukyan for me, I'll have a ton of Tsarukyan on Draftkings, and I think Tsarukyan gets a finish at some point. I was debating maybe the late props on Tsarukyan, but I think it could come early as well. So yep, staying away from the main event. Not really. I don't know. It would be Tsarukyan into the distance if anything, but it's not something I'm really running to the window for. Benny's live here absolutely is. I agree. You can ragdoll Bobby Green off the couch. God, the fact that anybody loses to Bobby Green's embarrassing. My goodness. Bobby Straight said he is here to get a paycheck, that he's got plans outside the UFC. Fair enough. All right. So yeah, that's about it. I'll quickly go through my bets. I'll be posting my betting breakdown video sometime this evening. I still want to take a couple hours to maybe think over some of these potential spots. Maybe a Tsarukyan inside the distance bet, maybe a Turner inside the distance bet, or round 1, round 2 bet, maybe a Davis and Figueiredo bet. Those are kind of the 3 spots I'm looking at. Outside of that, nothing's really tempting me, but those are kind of the 3 spots that are semi tempting me, but still nothing I love. So I have Joaquim Silva inside the distance, 1 unit minus 105. Clay Guida or Joaquim Silva by submission, half a unit plus 400. Punahele Sorano wins in round 1 or round 2 plus 115, 1 unit. Sorano wins by first round KO, half a unit plus 290. But Bolanos wins by submission, half a unit plus 350. Bolanos wins by submission in round 1, quarter unit plus 540. And then Bolanos wins by submission round 2, quarter unit plus 1600. And then my biggest play of the night, Zach Reese, Cody Brundage, under 1.5 rounds. What's with the Bobby Green hate? I'm not sure, but Josh Locks does not like Bobby Green, which is fine. We all have our opinions. We all have our fighters we like and dislike. But yeah, Josh Locks does really not like Bobby Green, which is fine. I mean, we all have opinions, and that's fine. Yeah. So that is about it. Be on the lookout for that betting breakdown video. Be on the lookout for best bet tomorrow. And I just now see that I had the 1-800-GAMBLER ticker across the stream, across the screen for like half the show, which may be a sign. you know, guys, be safe, be careful. This card's sketching me out. So, yeah, best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Like, subscribe. See you later.